Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back. Special episode tonight, Droid Life show. Here we are, episode 50. That actually is a milestone. I think we talked about 25 being one or something. 50 actually seems like
now
milestone.
We're really old.
We're really been doing this for a while, something like that. So, welcome. I am your host, Kellen. With me, Tim, Kyle for the first time, and Eric. Everybody say hi real quick.
What's up, guys? Tim here. How's it going?
Hey guys. That's fine.
Hey, it's Eric.
Yeah, steal my thunder, right?
Yeah, just a little bit.
Still my sunshine.
Tim likes to go second. It's okay.
No, I see.
So yeah, welcome in. We're gonna talk about Galaxy S5 because we're approaching the final unveiling or the official unveiling, which is Monday. We also want to talk about the HTC One because all sorts of HTC One things have happened recently. We've got an official render, at least we believe it to be official, from EvLeaks. HTC also has an event finally planned for late March. HTC is also doing some other things with free screen replacement, some of that stuff. Facebook is buying WhatsApp for $16 billion. Google I/O is now officially announced. Some other things, some apps, some fun. So yeah, 50th episode. Let's get this thing kicked off by talking. Let's go Galaxy S5. So Monday is the event. You guys know that, the unveiling. It's a dual event. Well, I guess that's not really a dual event. It's happening at MWC, Barcelona. For those of us not going to Barcelona, we're going to have a New York City gathering. So Tim and I will be there on hand to get our hands on whatever they show off, announce. We're assuming it's going to be Galaxy S5, potentially new tablet or something, maybe a new Galaxy Gear. So this week, though, we've got new stuff on camera. It's got new LEDs, which they actually announced. There's going to be some new LED tech in there. I believe it's Bloomberg said that we're going to see a sharper display, I believe is how they put it. And then
so specific.
Yeah, so specific. And then we also have word of a fingerprint sensor apparently being confirmed. So, Kyle, did you want to talk about? I think you talked about almost all of these actually. New camera today, or new camera stuff today came out. We also got fingerprint sensor stuff, and then this Bloomberg article. So, you kind of want to talk about all these new things that we learned?
Sure. Yeah, I'll talk about the camera first because I wrote that today. So, basically. 16 megapixel confirmed. I mean, I hesitate to call that news because it's been rumored for so long and so many people expected that. Mm-hmm. But still, it's good to have another confirmation. Also, it's going to be capable of shooting video at 4K, 30 FPS, and 1080p at 60 FPS, which I think was also rumored. Mm-hmm. And that's more of a, I think, Snapdragon capability than a sensor thing. But hey, cool, 4K video's neat, although it'll be heavily compressed, so oh well. Also, a lot of software functionality, but before I get to that, I guess I should talk about the capacitive button that is rumored.
Yes, this actually sounds kind of interesting. At least it's
I don't know. It sounds like a bad idea, personally.
You think so? Okay.
Because it's capacitive. It's a capacitive camera button. So Samsung hasn't had a camera button of any kind on a Galaxy device since what, forever, right? They've never had one.
I don't remember one at all, huh?
So they're changing things up a little bit for the 5. They're going to add a touch-sensitive one, supposedly on the right bottom side of the device. And I just think, I don't know, Sam Mobile, who reported all this, said that it will disable when you're shooting, photos in portrait mode, easy mode, and when you're recording video. But even so, I think accidental presses will be a huge problem with the capacitive button.
Unless it doesn't do anything else, right? I mean, if it only shoots in landscape and it only is active when you have the camera in that mode, like I don't know that you'll have accidental presses if you're just, you have it in your pocket or something if it's disabled. Unless they let you use it as a camera shortcut or something too. I don't know that we know any of that, do we?
No, we don't, and that's what I'm concerned about.
Yeah.
So they have to be really careful with it. And I don't know, just the whole capacitive idea seems kind of pointless. There was no reason they couldn't go hardware. I mean, aesthetically, I suppose it maybe looks better, but
right.
I don't get it.
For me, like, pictures are something that I don't want to leave up to a capacitive button. Like, and we're getting to the point in Android where things are pretty responsive. But even then, sometimes under a heavy load, my my Moto X will kind of, take a few seconds before it thinks about that I've just pressed the home button. I don't want that to happen on my camera.
Well, maybe if it didn't run a dual-core processor.
Well, I'm just saying. Even
heavily optimized.
Heavily optimized. I like that.
When I think about that, I'm like, man, that doesn't really sound like something I would use that much.
Well, I think if implemented the right way and there's certain tweaking has been done.
Yeah.
I mean, who knows how responsive it's going to be. I'm sure it's not going to be
That's just the first thing that came to mind.
I guess I'm just curious, who uses a physical or wants a physical camera button or a capacitive button? Like, why can't you just touch your
Windows
screen?
Phone users, I think, right?
Well, I think it's actually, now that it is capacitive and not a physical button, I think this actually makes more sense to me to have a physical button. I like the idea.
Yeah, you don't actually have to compress a button. You can just kind of like tap on it, right?
Exactly. And so I love the idea.
Yeah, so like I have one on this Xperia Z1 Compact right there. And I've never used
physical camera buttons? What?
Yeah, so this has one. You can see
I'm jealous.
Kind of right there. You can't really see it, but it's there. Anyway, and so you can use that to launch the camera, but I've never actually used it to take a picture. Because then you like wiggle your phone, and I don't know. It just seems weird. Anyways, yeah, I figured a capacitive button you could at least you wouldn't have to compress anything. It would just be like a little tap, and then take a picture maybe.
The Nexus 5 actually has a physical camera button
volume
as
keys,
well. But yeah, I think.
But does anyone use that?
I just remembered that it had it, so no, I don't think so.
Okay.
Because I find that when I have to focus, because Nexus 5 you have to tap to focus everything.
Yeah.
So focus 3 times, maybe 5, and then press. Since your finger is already on the screen to tap to focus, then it goes right to the, take a photo button. So I don't know.
When I also heard about this, I was like, how? And I'm sure that Samsung's put millions of dollars into figuring out this question already, but this just came to mind. Like, how are they going to visually convey that? Hey, there's a magical spot on the side of your phone. That if you touch it while it's in landscape mode, it'll take a picture for you.
Maybe when
I'm sure there will be. No, go ahead.
Oh no, go ahead, Kyle. Please.
I'm sure there will be a little Comic Sans arrow pointing to it. Don't worry.
Yeah, Comic Sans. I was saying maybe when you're in the camera app, a little capacitive button will light up or something like that.
Yeah, my guess
would
it'll look
cool.
like the little camera cutout kind of icon, and it'll just light up.
Yeah, that's
now, if it had if you held it on its side and then like the top part of it lit up there, that would be pretty cool.
How much money did you say you're hoping that they put into figuring that out?
Millions of dollars.
Oh,
millions of dollars.
Screw it. Let's say billions.
All right. So, anything else with the camera then, besides all that stuff?
Yeah, they're adding some new modes.
Okay.
I guess the coolest sounding one, at least I don't know how it's going to work in practice, is the 3D tour shot, which quote unquote lets you create interactive virtual tours of your surroundings. So it sounds like an extension of Photosphere essentially.
Okay.
Not that groundbreaking, but we'll see what they come up with. And I guess this isn't in the article, but it was in the SAM Mobile report. There is an aqua shooting mode, so that kind of doesn't really confirm, but it suggests that the standard S5 model is going to be waterproof.
That would be nice. Yeah, I saw that as well. Thought the same thing.
They could do the Galaxy Sport. Was that what it was called? The one
Active.
that only came out on AT&T.
The Active. Yeah.
Active. That's what. Yeah.
Because I want to say the Active had that shooting mode, or I didn't play with the Active much. I'm not sure, but I want to say that it did have that shooting mode potentially. But like you said, if it's in the Galaxy S5 ROM or whatever those guys have, I'd imagine it'll be waterproof, which is good.
Mm-hmm.
All right, cool. So what was let's see, what was the other thing? The fingerprint sensor. What was that all about? Was that Sam Mobile reporting that too?
Yeah, they're just they said they're gonna provide a new piece of information about the S5 like every day leading up to its release. So yeah, that's pretty awesome. But so the fingerprint sensor. I don't know, nothing that exciting actually. It's not gonna work like we thought, or it was rumored to work.
It's a swipe, isn't it? It's a swipe.
Yeah. It's not going to be behind the display, which I thought would have been awesome. Mm-hmm. Instead, it's going to be. I think it's kind of like how the Atrix one worked, right? Where you have to just swipe your whole fingerprint across the sensor.
Yeah,
Probably.
It's jank.
Yeah. It's going to be embedded into the home button. There's still going to be a physical home button. on the Galaxy S5. Unfortunately, I'm not a huge fan.
No.
So
But also,
innovate.
yeah, I know. But also, there are going to be some interesting software features tied to the fingerprint sensor. First of all, you'll be able to launch different apps with different fingerprints. So that's neat, I guess. It's it would probably be easier just to touch a shortcut, but and also there's going to be 2 new privacy features. One is called Personal Folder, and one is called Private Mode. And basically, you'll just have to swipe a fingerprint to access any hidden apps or content you put in those modes.
Now
So,
that I like.
That's actually kind of cool.
oh yeah.
Yeah.
And one last thing, I guess they're gonna. I won't say copy Apple because this isn't a very original idea, but you'll be able to use your fingerprint to store like website login credentials and your Samsung account, so you can use a fingerprint instead of typing that stuff in.
Your
I like
Samsung account, yes.
I know,
Yes.
everyone uses it. Yeah,
Yeah.
right.
Well, that doesn't sound too bad. I guess if you're putting it in the home button, because you're touching the home button all the time, right? And if it even requires a swipe, I could get used to that. But it was the Atrix and then that massive One Max thing that Tim had for a while. They put the thing on the back, which just made absolutely no sense. I know they said when you hold a phone, your finger's there, so you can swipe easily. That just didn't make sense. On the home button, could be okay.
Back when it was on the Atrix, it kind of made sense because phones were smaller back then.
That's
you could
true.
easily, the top of your finger, made it to the top of
That's
the
true.
phone easily.
That's true, it did.
But on the One Max, you're right. That thing, I saw that in a store, like in real life, and I was shocked. I had to run the other way.
It is something else. Tim loved that thing, the One Max.
Huge.
Yeah, the One Max was sweet. How you could almost drop it by trying to swipe it like on the back, and with using different fingerprints, you can open up different apps and all that, that's innovative. But yeah, it was just too much of a pain in the butt to actually get to the fingerprint scanner. So
Ridiculous.
I hope the S5 is cool, man. It just really sucks that you have to swipe and you can't just place your thumb on there or whatever.
Yeah.
That
They
is
would probably
really
have to
lame.
make it round, though, and then they'd really be copying Apple, right? Because your fingerprint's kind of round or
Well, they
circular.
should have just not gone fingerprint scanner in the first place.
I
but,
agree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I haven't followed the story of the fingerprint scanner on the new iPhone. Is anyone using it? Is it actually something? Or are there, threads of people complaining about how stupid it is? I don't know.
Well, I think you have to actually put it in just to activate your new iPhones when you get
Okay.
them. So.
I know my friend uses it. She mentioned it a couple weeks ago when we were talking, but I can't remember if it was a good or a bad thing that she mentioned.
That'd be a good question to ask Ron, and unfortunately he's not here.
R.I.P.
I did some Google research, and it seems to be about split. Some people have trouble with it, and others don't. So
Okay.
it's tough. There is no verdict.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we'll see. Yeah, we'll see how
Yeah,
Samsung
we'll
does
see.
it. And then the other thing was, or the last thing is, Bloomberg just said it's going to have a larger, sharper display. That's pretty much all they said, right?
Yep.
So we don't really, which we kind of figured anyway. I mean, Samsung wasn't going to probably put the same type of display in. We figured
Yeah,
it'd be sharper.
Yeah, there have been a lot of conflicting reports on the display resolution, though. So, and I think I read something, maybe it was over at Sam Mobile, again today, that kind of suggested that the S5 American model, at least, is going to launch with a 1080p screen, and then later down the road, there may be a higher resolution one. They are having, allegedly, production issues with the super high resolution version. So, and also, I guess the super high resolution version might be slightly smaller. We'll have to see if any of that pans out. I'm not sure. I'm not exactly sure what to believe at this point,
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah,
that
it's
could be
confirmed.
the rumors that we've heard about, the premium line. Remember? We've been.
Yeah, all of the premium talk has been sort of fizzling, the F series or whatever.
Yeah.
I read a story today. It was just a story, not a report. That
Was it on IB Times or something?
yeah, that the S5 was going to launch with a 1080p display, and then a few months later, the QHD display was going to launch. And so I don't.
Yeah,
care.
that report did float around today. I don't
Yeah.
know what to make of it at this point.
We're a few days away. Who cares? I'm not. I feel like
Right. What's
like,
the
well,
point of?
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
not going to speculate anymore. I have like
We got a hype
72
beast
hours
up
to
until
go.
the weekend, and
Yeah.
then we all just wait.
And then
So
somebody
fun.
will finally post like a 15-minute hands-on video from Korea or something with the phone in a box or something.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So,
But yeah, Samsung's done again a great job of keeping all this stuff under wraps. It's kind of been crazy.
it's been great.
Yeah, they've been really good. Oh, breaking news! If anyone cares, LG just fully officially introduced the G2 Mini, or did that actually happen earlier?
Well, no, technically not.
I mean, I have the press release now.
God,
Yeah.
did they wait until we start the Droid Life? It's like every week.
Oh wait,
right
check
when
this
we're
out.
talking about Samsung, something comes through the wire.
Yeah, no, this is every time we mention Samsung, right, LG. So it looks like there might be two models. One, get this, Tim, is running a 1.7 gigahertz NVIDIA quad-core Tegra 4i processor. Is that like one of the first phones ever from a mainstream manufacturer with the Tegra
I
4?
think so.
It is. What? So I wrote today. We're talking about the G2 Mini, right?
Yeah.
Man, so I wrote up the specs today that were apparently confirmed from overseas sources.
No, I think those were right, but it looks like there's a second model.
Oh,
So
two model. Okay, because one
Yes.
was 1.2 gigahertz quad core.
Yep. So there's a 1.2 gigahertz Qualcomm quad core, and then there's also a 1.7 gigahertz NVIDIA quad core Tegra 4i,
Good job, NVIDIA.
and the rest of it looks the same. QHD with a little Q.
Certainly.
1 gig of RAM, 8 megapixel camera. So
Wow.
yeah, nothing
They're
really.
only a year
That
late.
is a huge
Yeah.
processor to put in there with all those other mediocre specs.
Well, the 4i is not their, like flagship Tegra 4. It's
But
like
it
the mini.
was.
No.
It's like a Tegra 4
Yeah.
mini or something.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
That's,
it wasn't
that's a
supposed to be.
K1, right? Their
Yeah.
flagship is a K1.
Yeah,
Well,
but that's
last
kind of
year
like the
was
Tegra
Tegra
5.
4, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But then the Tegra 4i was like the little baby brother that had LTE because it has a software modem. And,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
And they were going to try. They basically were, going to take the 4i and try to push it into affordable phones or something like that. And it just never really happened until now.
It was
Apparently.
just too late. They had
It was too late.
no idea what they were doing.
It will come in Titan black, lunar white, red, and gold. They didn't have fancy names for the red and gold. They just say red and gold. Interesting. Well, that's official now. All right, anyways, back on track. So we were talking about Samsung and their security and keeping this thing under wraps. And then on the other hand, we've got the HTC One 2014, or the all-new One. And we know, well, we don't necessarily know all the specs yet or everything that HTC is doing with it, but we know what the phone looks like. According to EvLeaks, anyway, it's going to be the all-new One, or we're just going to call it the One 2014, just like we do with the Nexus
Yeah,
7.
I think that's what it's going to end up being called. Like,
It's going to be the One, yeah.
yeah, I mean, it sets up perfectly for a marketing thing their marketing thing is going to be the all-new One. But I don't think
Right.
when you
And they,
purchase the box, it's not going to say the all-new One, in quotations.
I hope
It's
not.
going to be like what what the Apple did with that iPad. I
Right.
forget which it was, the 4th generation or something. I'm not sure.
Where they just called
Yeah.
it the new iPad, yeah.
Yeah, and it was super confusing and annoying, but oh well,
Yeah.
we'll get over it, I guess.
Yeah, I think we're starting to get over it because Google did it with the Nexus 7. They just still called the new one the Nexus 7. So,
Right.
so yesterday, I believe it was yesterday. Yeah, the 18th. So HTC sets up March 25th as the day to unveil whatever they've got next. A dual event, London and NYC, and then today, EvLeaks drops a press render of it in gold. And it just looks like the HTC One, right? Except the speaker grill is driving everyone nuts up top because it's not the same width as the bottom speaker. It looks like they moved over the power button to the right side. The headphone jack might be on the bottom now, which I like. Shows the dual camera setup, the dual LED setup. Looks like it might be slightly thinner on-screen buttons. And yeah, it just looks like another HTC One. What do you guys think about this design?
I actually like it. It's a little bit more rounded than the first one.
Mm-hmm.
oh, stop.
I can't.
This design sucks. It's so
Yeah.
it's so boring. It's so boring. I
Okay,
find
then
it
do
so...
you say the One sucks because it's the exact same
No,
phone?
the One was innovative. Like this. Now they're just copying themselves, and I just think it's boring. Like I don't
themselves.
I don't mind I don't mind it. You know, I was just hoping for something different, like the HTC black bar on the bottom. Like, I feel like they could have done better. That's all I'm saying. Like, so I had a lot
If you give me
higher
that
hopes.
in that flat black coating that they have, I think it'll look pretty sick. But that gold, I can't stand. The
Well,
silver,
yeah, the gold is little.
Well, it's I
little
think
trim.
EvLeaks said there's like 3 or 4 colors coming or something.
Yeah, gray, black. No, gray. Wait,
Oh.
gray? it was 2 that are like the same. Gray, silver, and gold. That's what it was. Gray, silver, and gold.
if they did that flat black, that would be sick. But
Yeah,
I'm
totes.
gonna give them a chance.
I mean, totes.
They need every they need I can't remember the word, but they need the help
Yeah.
going up against Samsung.
I don't know. I'm kind
Cameron's
of
not gonna do it.
yeah. I'm kind of with you, Tim. There's something about the design that feels like effeminate. I don't know. I'm not sure I like the rounded curves, and I'm just a little disappointed that the screen isn't edge to edge. But
Yeah.
that's what I was personally hoping for. Didn't pan out.
Yeah, I think we were all hoping that the bezel shrunk a lot, and it maybe shrunk a little bit on the sides, but not enough. It should have been almost fully edge to edge. And then the problem is, most of us love on-screen buttons, right? But if you go from capacitive to on-screen, you don't change anything else, then you actually are taking away screen real estate and also not shrinking the size of the phone. So they left that black bar where the capacitive buttons were, and then took those away and put on-screen buttons, but left this giant black bar, which essentially serves no purpose at this point. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it would have shrunk the phone down, but left it with a massive 5-inch screen or whatever the rumor is. And it probably would have been really compact. You know, like that's part of what we love about the Moto X or even the Galaxy S4. It's compact. And then this just looks like it's the exact same size as the one.
See, that's why I kind of like the rounded corners, because it seems a little less imposing. Like, when you first looked at the one, those, like, you know, I mean, it was pretty much a rectangle with hard corners. Like, it was pretty, you know, in your face. I think this softens it up a little bit. I don't know. I don't know what it is about HTC phones, but
You love
just-
them, and you don't even own one.
I don't even own them. I just really like them.
I'm kind of with you, and I like the rounder look of this because I think it'll fit better in your hand. But
Yeah.
I just wish the device overall would have been smaller, and that black bar would have been gone.
You know what it sounds like to me? It sounds like I'm going to be the one reviewing for the website. That's what it sounds like. Everyone else is just uninterested.
Ho.
Send it over to me. I'll do it.
We shall see.
Just real
For the
quickly,
team.
am I cracking at all? My headphones or my...
Yeah,
Whenever
You're good now.
I'm
brush it
good
up
now.
against your,
Yeah, it was just brushing. All right, cool.
Yeah.
There you
Good to
go.
know.
So yeah, it's coming the 25th of March, and that's what it apparently looks like. Well, if you're in the chat, I posted a link to the. I'm still saying GIF, by the way. It's not GIF. I don't care what anyone says.
It's a
It's
gift.
Jeff. You're wrong. Sorry.
I don't even care what the creator says. He's wrong.
He's wrong, too.
Oh
So-
God. You
So,
guys.
I'm going to
It's,
need to see a hard J in there in order to call it GIF.
Yeah, I need a J and probably another F in there. It's gonna be GIF. So that's all. That's pretty much what we know, right? We got the name. It's just gonna be the One again. It's not the 1-2 or the 1+ or the 1-up like Ron voted for.
One.
And it's gonna come in silver, gray, and gold. We know what it looks like. It does have dual cameras. I guess that's the mystery, is how HTC is gonna sell this dual camera setup and try to make it worthwhile. And we'll see what other sort of gimmicky stuff they come up with.
Team Hard G.
Are they?
Kind of creepy, Eric.
I didn't start it. It wasn't me.
Is HTC doomed? Okay, HTC's already doomed. But because they're waiting a month after Samsung to announce this thing, is it just ultimate failure at that point?
They're screwed.
I mean, they're screwed either way. If you try and come out before it, you just look like LG. And then if you do it too soon after the Samsung or the Galaxy S5's announced, nobody's going to remember it. And then if you wait halfway through the summer, everybody's already bought the S5. They got to do it at some point.
I think unless HTC can announce that the dual back-facing cameras and the boom sound and some of the features on the all-new one are you just gotta have them, then I don't see too much of a future in terms of how many people are going to buy the phone. I mean, there's definitely dedicated HTC fans that are going to pick this phone up, but I mean, the way I see it, I'm kind of indifferent. Like, I'll use whatever phone I think is the best in my mind, you know. So, and if it beats out the S5, then I'll totally use it. But I don't see it happening, you know.
Yeah, that's kind of the thing. We don't know if it's just going to be more of the same, or
Yeah.
what innovative stuff they're going to bring to the table. Who knows how well the dual camera setup is going to work, like you mentioned, Cullen. And I don't know. The speakers don't look any different. The display doesn't look much different. So I'm kind of in a wait and see mode.
Those are all good things from the One.
They weren't good enough, apparently.
They weren't good enough though, because like even the 1080p display on the One is sort of hidden and it's imprisoned by these huge
So
bezels.
I mean, it's not good enough because we're comparing it to Samsung. At that point,
No. I'm talking the One's design was okay, but still the bezels, and this phone still has bezels.
Well, yeah, I mean that's just their design. I guess they don't want to,
God, they
stray
love
too
bezels.
much.
Yeah, they don't want to bring their beautiful display to the forefront for some reason. I don't know.
I mean,
Seriously. Yeah, I guess
yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
Sorry. I was just going to say, it really isn't a gorgeous display compared to I love AMOLED. Hate me, but for whatever reason, the IPS on it looks infinitely better than the screen on my GS4. I'm not sure what it is, but maybe the calibration. I don't know.
Yeah, see, I love AMOLEDs too, except the one on the Moto X because it looks yellow. But
that poor oversaturated little
Poor
display.
But I like the one on the S4 and the Note 3. But I'm an AMOLED guy.
all I'm saying is if HTC goes down sometime, in the next year,
When?
You mean when somebody buys them?
yeah, they are going to
Lenovo.
go down with a pretty good track record of phones, and then just end up getting purchased by somebody.
They've made some really
Google.
good phones. Yeah, they've made some really, really good phones. They just can't. I don't know what the initial downfall was, because there was a while there early on where they were the leader in Android, and then Samsung created the S
Thunderbolt
line
happened.
and just
That's
went.
what-
Well, it's
Thunderbolt
HTC. Yeah. Sorry, go for it, Eric.
I mean, the Thunderbolt happened, and then that was right when Samsung kind of came into their own. And, at that point, by the time they got their stuff together and released the One X, it was just, it was too late.
All of HTC's little, baby designs, that weren't their flagships, like the Facebook phone, and all those, failed venture stuff.
Mhm.
I know that
Crap.
HTC,
What's it called?
probably didn't take a huge, Beats. I mean, these are, bad business
Bad moves.
decisions. And
Big
we're
chow.
talking, a ton of cash.
Yeah.
And that's just, I don't get it.
I don't know. I think it also comes down to marketing muscle, because
Absolutely.
you could sell a bad product. Look at the Galaxy Gear. I just pissed some people off. But
Ooh.
I mean, honestly, if HTC had some cash behind them, I think they could do a lot better job. But they just don't. There's no capital.
They can make commercials like Samsung put out today. People were loving those commercials. You guys watch those from today?
Yeah. They were like, this is the old Samsung. I love Samsung again.
I was surprised.
no,
Yeah,
it's
people were
Samsung.
all over Samsung. Like,
Yeah,
Samsung.
loving
It was
that.
weird.
I didn't really care for all that. Yeah, I think if HTC could spend the money and sponsor the entire NBA, then they might be able to sell some phones. But
Seriously,
that ain't
everywhere
gonna
you
happen.
look. Samsung sponsored half
Everything.
of All-Star Weekend. They
Olympics.
also sponsor NBA style. They're doing the Olympics. Yeah, you can't. You just
You
can't.
can't
compete
go
with that stuff.
anywhere. Yeah. So I'm sure they're gonna do something's gonna do MLB, baseball, and all this stuff.
I'm
like
sure.
once the season starts picking up, I'm sure Samsung will be all over that.
I'm surprised they haven't bought into the NFL yet, but yeah. Okay,
Microsoft's territory, I guess.
That's Verizon's
Yeah, maybe.
territory.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
Verizon's
Verizon
territory too.
You don't muscle in on them.
Yeah.
All right, so HTC had other news this week, though. They announced this new program called HTC Advantage, and they will give you a free screen replacement should you crack it within the first, I believe, 6 months on the One Max, or the One Mini. They also guarantee you'll get 2 years of updates, and they might have tossed some other stuff in there as well. So the screen replacement thing, 6 months. No one. Most people have owned the HTC One for longer than 6 months. I mean, it's a year old now. I guess people bought it throughout the year and all that stuff. I guess that's kind of cool. Do things like that stand out and make you want to buy a phone from a manufacturer? Nobody else is doing free screen replacements.
I'll tell you, in a college town, that'll probably sell some devices. If the Verizon guy walks up to a girl and says, "Hey, if you drop your phone while you're out at the bar and the screen breaks, they'll replace it for free."
Yes. They've only had their one for less than 6 months, though. Is that so? It's only for ones, right?
No, it's one Max and one Mini, I think.
Oh,
I think it's all three of their phones are out right now, and
then
obviously
I'm sure they're going to do it for the
some One Max fans might be happy then.
All new, the One Max, because you probably dropped that on the regular. Has anybody dropped a phone and cracked a screen? Any of you guys?
Never.
Yes.
Although I'm anal about my phone.
You have? What was it? Was it a smartphone?
It was a smartphone. It was well, first I dropped the Galaxy Nexus. I just have butterfingers, I guess. Well, see, the thing is, I use my phone as an alarm, and I'm going to college, so I sleep in a dorm with a bunk bed, and I have the top bunk. So sometimes I'm just a little too tired in the morning, and I just can't hold on to my phone. So I dropped my
drop.
Yeah, I dropped my Galaxy Nexus, broke that. I bought a Galaxy S4 off contract. I dropped that, and then I bought a replacement, and I haven't dropped it yet. So,
So does HTC saying we'll fix your screen? Is that interesting now?
Definitely. They just have to they have to promote that service though.
Yeah, they probably do, which they have no money to do.
Yeah, but they should make it integral to the marketing of the new one, I think, because if they can definitely impress upon young people and careless people like me, then that'll make it a killer feature.
Yeah, I think it's definitely something they should be promoting because people do break phones like crazy. I mean, look at all the dumb drop test videos people do on YouTube. Because there are people out there that care about that stuff. So
just another way for HTC to lose money. Sounds good to me.
Yikes.
Let it bleed.
So Facebook this afternoon announced that they are buying WhatsApp for $16 billion.
And they're actually spending 19, right? With the
technically 19, yes, because they're giving a bunch of stock options to employees or something.
Seems legit.
Insane.
It's absolutely insane. So first of all, I'll be the first to admit I've never used WhatsApp in my life.
Yeah, I haven't either.
Neither have I.
Because we're in America.
Yeah, because we're in America, and it's a big global thing, not an American thing, U.S. thing. But 16 billion. How much was Instagram? Does anyone remember? It's like 4.
3 billion.
Was it 3? So WhatsApp's really worth that much more than. I know they have a lot of users, and they dropped a bunch of stats in their press release. It said, hold on.
Yeah, like 450 million users.
It's not only the users, but it's also all that infrastructure. You're getting worldwide messaging infrastructure on the spot. Like, that's not going to come cheap.
Facebook just snatched up the number one biggest messenger competitors, basically.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I mean it's
like the
huge.
number one messaging thing in the world. Like,
I think so.
You have all that infrastructure on the spot.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah, I mean they said in the press release that the messaging volume through WhatsApp is approaching the entire global telecom SMS volume. That's kind of insane to think about. So.
I just hate when companies such as Facebook, who solely rely on ad revenue to make their money, buy a company, say for $16 or $19 billion, and then they say, no, monetization, no, we have no plans for that. Right. We're not talking about monetization.
Right.
We're just going to let it do its own thing for a while. And, like, if I was a stockholder in that company, I'm just like, what on earth are you talking about? Like, you better start making money off that because...
Apparently, like, WhatsApp employees own, like, 7% of Facebook now through stocks.
Pretty much,
yeah. They're having a great night tonight, I'm sure.
I would be having a nice dinner. So
WhatsApp's currently adding more than 1 million new registered users per day, which is
that's impressive.
It's a pretty big number. Yeah, they're huge. We're just I think in the U.S. we're all kind of like we don't really care about WhatsApp. Obviously, I feel like Facebook's been talking about maybe picking them up for a while, or there've been rumors or something like that. But Yeah, I don't. It doesn't affect. It clearly doesn't affect any of us right here because none of us use WhatsApp. But
Well, I think this is them
$16
setting up for something bigger. If you ask me, I think this is the first step in world domination as
How much
far as
market
it
cap
goes.
will
World
Facebook have?
domination. Yeah.
I don't know how much money Facebook has. I'm sure like Mark Zuckerberg could have just like whipped out his